as one book read, then a 31-page book counts as one book read. You know, there's balance there. But yeah, I read a couple like short stories this month, which were really good. Honestly, guys, this was such a good reading month. Like, I was beginning to worry about like 5-star books. I was like, am I just reading too many books where I'm not like satisfied with them anymore? And then March hit, and I had some amazing reads. You may be able to hear the wind outside. It is very windy, and I also have a little candle going. So I guess we should jump right into it. But I'm sorry, right before I do that, I just have a little announcement to make. I made a post about it yesterday on my channel, but I have started a new BookTube channel. So like a non-ASMR, fully dedicated to books and bookish things channel. It will be linked in the description, like going forward now. But I've already had some people ask. That new channel will not be taking away from this channel whatsoever. My ASMR channel will still have just as much bookish content. I know not everyone loves ASMR or watches ASMR, so I wanted to make my bookish content, available to everyone. Or maybe you're not in the mood for ASMR, so you can maybe go there. Like some of the stuff will overlap, so I'm going to be doing a March wrap-up on my BookTube channel, which will be going out tomorrow. So like some videos will have an ASMR version and a non-ASMR version, but then my BookTube channel will have like what's over here plus like so much more. I want to do like vlogs, reading vlogs and things like that. So I would super duper really appreciate if you checked out that channel and gave it a little subscribe, because if you're watching this video, you probably like books. So yeah, okay, I'm so sorry. I hate long intros, and this has been the longest intro of my life. Let's get into it. I have other stuff I could talk about, but I'm not gonna keep you waiting any longer. So thank you. I just want to start and jump right into my 5-star reads, okay? So first, and a number of my 5-star reads were from my March TBR pick video, like the prompt cards, including this one. It's so shiny. This is Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wong. This is the first M.L. Wong book that I have read, and it is so good. So first 5-star. This is I don't really know how to distinguish like high fantasy from regular fantasy, but it's definitely fantasy. Like, there isn't really a romance in it, so if you're looking for a romantasy, this is not it. But the story is just so encapsulating. It's like nothing I've ever read or heard of before. The author's writing and prose is beautiful and impeccable, but then the story itself is very complex. The story starts out like action immediately, like it jumps you straight into it. There's no like really like slow build up or anything. It puts you right in the story. Yeah, a lot goes on in the first chapter, and then we meet our main character, whose name is Siona. At least that's how I was pronouncing it. It's Siona. She is a mage, and the first ever woman to make it like to her level in this prestigious mage. It's a school, but also they kind of like run, not the world, but they have like a dome town, and they like power their city. So yeah, she's the first woman mage to make it to this level that she's at, and she's very intelligent, very smart, but also very like to herself. And so it follows her journey and her discovering something, and it took turns that I didn't expect it to. Oh, the magic system in this I thought was so unique. Like, this on the cover is how they what are these things called? A spellograph, that's what it's called. Like, there's a diagram of them at the start, which is really cool. This is how they do their magic. There are like different spells that you like type in, and then there's like a coordinating spell for where you're going to pull the energy needed for the spell. It was very cool. Some of the magic stuff went over my head a little bit, but like 99% of it I got and understood. And it was just such a fascinating, interesting story. There were never any lulls in it. It honestly felt like I was reading history and not like a fictional book. This book deals with a lot of racism within their world, like different races of people being treated differently, heavy on the misogyny. Like, the big thing is that she's the first woman to ever reach where she is at the ending. Oh my god, I don't even want to think about it. So highly, highly, highly recommend. I don't want to talk too much about it, but yeah. Okay, the next actually books that I read that we also picked from my prompt cards, Choose My March TBR. I didn't expect to get through both of these, but I read House of Salt and Sorrow, as well as the second book in the series, House of Roots and Ruin. Now, these books unfortunately got the title plague of the blank of blank and blank, which we gotta stop that. Like, book publishers, I don't know if it's the publishers or the authors, but we gotta let that go, honestly, because I truly, especially the first one, like, I love this cover. Is super pretty. This one stands out to me, but this first cover doesn't as much, and I feel like this cover and the title do not do this book justice at all. Like, I genuinely didn't really take a good look at this cover and realize what it was until I was like halfway through the book. But it is like an ocean, and there's a tentacle there, and just feel like it all blends in a little bit. And this series is called The Sisters of the Salt. The Sisters of the Salt. And I honestly feel like that would have been a really good name for the first book. The Sisters of the Salt. Like, that's a really cool, intriguing name, I think, anyways. But, anyways, besides that, Mila, one of my subscribers, had gifted me this. Mila's booked. So I wanted to get to it. This book was on my radar. I did want it because I had heard good things about it. And it was a 5-star. 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 Oh, I meant to bring it upstairs, but this book is quite literally Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses had a baby with House of Hollow. This book, which was also a 5-star read for me. Like, you take those two, mash them together, and you get this book. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, so it very much does follow that story, which is so cool. There's 12 sisters, and there's magic, and there's dancing. However, there's lots of death and a super gothic setting, and I ate that shit up. I loved it. Like, I love Barbie, I love the 12 Dancing Princesses, and I love a gothic, eerie, disturbing story and setting. And I don't know why I always love like lots of sisters in a book, because I have sisters, so just that resonates with me, I guess, more. But yeah, I really love this. And with this kind of book, like, it's fantasy, there's quite a lot of magic and gods as well, which is fun. But I don't know, I wasn't expecting this kind of book to have so many twists as it did. Like, I thought the story was going somewhere, and then there was another unexpected twist, or something unexpected happened. So that was a lot of fun. My right lower leg is fully asleep. I'm sorry that the air is on right now, so there's probably a lot of extra like white noise. Our power was off for 24 hours and our house was freezing. It came back on not long ago, so I don't want to turn the air off like I normally do. So I hope that you can bear with that noise for this video. It'll probably turn off during this video. So yeah, thanks. But I also read the second book, House of Roots and Ruin, which I don't know if it's just me, but this book is deceptively long. It's almost 530 pages, and to me it just doesn't look that long. But another 5-star. Yeah. I eat this kind of like really gothic, almost like Regency era, eerie, just like whatever these books and House of Hollow are. I love it. I need more of that. More. Okay, so if you have suggestions, please let me know. The third book in this series comes out next year. So I will be waiting very patiently, kind of. But this book, like, this one was 12 Dancing Princesses retelling inspired. This one, completely different plot, everything. We're following a different one of the 12 sisters. I won't say who, because I might give away some stuff in this one, but we get a whole new setting, whole new characters, and it was a good time. I was actually creeped out during some points in this, which I loved. But again, just so many things I didn't expect to happen, so many like plot twists I didn't expect, and I really enjoyed my time with these. And now for the next book that I read. This one I'm going back and forth between 4.75, but I rounded it up to a 5. Does that make sense? No, okay, the air turned off. Could you tell that the air turned off? It's like there should be less background white noise now. I hope. Okay, but that book is This is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood. This was not one of my prompt card picks for this month, but I have a Libby app membership, or not membership, like the Libby app where you can use your library card to get books. I use Libby for audio books, and every book that I want on there is always like weeks and weeks wait. So whenever books become available, that's what I'm gonna be listening to, you know. So I had a couple books become available in March, and this was one of them, which is really exciting because I had been wanting to read this really bad. Ali is one of my favorite romance authors, one of my very few favorite romance authors that I love, and is an auto-buy. And this is her one and only YA romance. Which is about chess, if that wasn't obvious. I just have to say though, I don't know what it is about chess. I don't know the first thing about chess. I have never played chess before. But when a book or a show or whatever has a chess setting and theme, I eat that shit up. It is like so cozy to me. I don't know why. Like, I felt the same way about The Queen's Gambit, that Netflix show from like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I loved that when I watched it. And then reading this, it made me want to watch The Queen's Gambit again. So then I rewatched it after finishing this book. So I think that really helped with me loving it. Like, yes, there was a lot of chess talk, but I didn't care. It was fine. It did not take away from the story at all for me. Like, Ali and her banter is just so freaking good. Like, all of her books, I'm always laughing out loud at either the main characters in her dialogue or things that they actually say. All of her books are in just the main female characters' point of view, although I haven't read Deep End yet, so I don't know if she's changed it up in her latest book. But I have now read all of her other books. Oh no, that's not true, except for, is it called Not in Love? Like her one before Deep End, I think. But this one, so the main female character, she's like pretty much a child prodigy, but she stopped playing chess at 14, and we don't really know why. I think she's just turned 18, and he is like the same age or 20. So she plays him and she beats him, and she kind of becomes famous for that, and ends up joining this chess kind of school for money, but she doesn't actually want to play chess because of her past. And her and him get closer and da 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 da. But I was never bored at all during this. Our main character, she was quite dumb at some points and a little annoying sometimes. I do find that with Allie's main female characters, they can be a little stupid. But even with that, I still ate it up. Okay. Speaking of Allie Hazelwood, I also read Love on the Brain by her this month. I didn't mean to read 2 Allie Hazelwood books in 1 month, but this book and Chuck and Mate just happened to be the only 2 books that became available to me on Libby, which is kind of funny. But I wasn't mad at all. Like I said, I love her, and this was the last of her older books that I hadn't read yet, but I had on my shelf for a few years, at least a couple years. It is so windy out. So this one is a very classic Allie book, STEM romance, which is science and technology, engineering, and maths. So, classic Allie we have a main female character who is super smart. She is a neuroscience engineer. Like what? But even then, she still managed to be dumb and bad at communicating, as they always are. But we look past it because the romance is good. I love how her books actually have a story and like a good plot to them, and there's really only like one major smutty, spicy scene, which I appreciate. So this one's not YA, but maybe to have a couple scenes, one major one. But anyways, and the male is always like huge and hulky, and also working like in her field. They're co-workers in this, and she is tiny. But this time they are working at NASA, and they're like co-piloting this project, and she thinks he hates her, but he actually loves her and was just avoiding her because he thought she was married, but she's not. So that's the whole like communication thing. Communication tropes are always the most annoying to me, but something about Allie makes me still eat it up. Like the banter, like her writing is just so good. Like the way I'm always laughing. So yeah, I accepted it. Because I just finished this, what do I rate this? I'm gonna say 4.5. I'm talking 0.5 for the main character's silliness. We'll say politely. Okay. And now the next book that I read is a very interesting one. I want you to let me know if you've even heard of this book before. It's a short story, which I don't remember when or like how I first heard of it. I genuinely think it was one of the first stories I saw when I joined the book community like a couple years ago. But that is... It also sounds so good. This is the yellow wallpaper. Look at this. Are there even pages in there? We haven't done a trace yet. The yellow wallpaper. I know this is older. I don't know when this was written, but I know it's not new. By Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I feel like I haven't been saying who the authors are. I think I forgot to say that this series is written by Aaron A. Craig. Aaron A. Craig. I'm sorry, Aaron. I love you. Okay. Back to this. Yeah, I don't know when it was written, but this is such an interesting, fascinating read. I was interested in it because whoever I saw talk about it years ago said that it was about a woman, which it is, who basically descends into madness from looking at this yellow wallpaper that is on the wall of her and her husband's like summer house. I don't really remember why they're there, but that's essentially what it is. It's 21 pages of this woman's descent into madness. It was so well executed for such a short story. Now people are chopping trees outside. Thank you. But I want to read you this review that I found on Goodreads that I felt summed up this book really well. And I don't think I could do it better because I look at the reviews after I've read a book. So this was by, is this person's name? Con, first of her name, Mother of Bunnies. This is their review. Women's mental problems have always been dismissed as hysteria from the beginning of time. It is this overwhelming diminution, am I saying that right, of mental problems that led to so many being institutionalized in the past, and it is the reason why the repressed Victorian woman was such a tremendous symbol of the age. That mentally unsound character recurs again in this little short story, an exceptionally fine example of how a woman neglected, belittled, dismissed, descends into insanity. Ow. But yeah, I just thought that it was really well done, and there's not so much else that I can say with it being so little. Like, the plot I said is literally the plot. Her husband dismissing her mental illness for hysteria and just needing to like relax. Like, actually that's not how that works. But really, really love this. I think I gave it 4 stars. Okay. I may as well tell you about the other short story that I read. I don't have my Kindle here to tap on, or my nails. Dang it. I have my book notebook. So this short story is called The 6 Deaths of the Saint. And one of you actually left a comment on one of my past book videos telling me to read this short story that I would really, really like it. And I tried searching for your comment. I'm so sorry I couldn't find it. If that was you, let me know, because I tried to find it. Okay, I genuinely don't remember what I was saying because I just had to stop for like 5 minutes because my annoying neighbor decided it was the perfect time to cut branches with the chainsaw right outside my window. I can still hear, I think they've moved. So if we can hear that, I will. I'm not even gonna say what I'll do. I just really hope you can hear it because I want to do this video. Anyways, so I saw Haley Jean ASMR post a story about this short story that is written by Alex E. Harrow, by the way. So yeah, she posted a story about how good it was. And that reminded me that I had it sitting downloaded on my phone from Kindle Unlimited for months. So her story was a little push to read it finally. And oh my god, am I glad I did. I should have talked about this earlier in the video because it was a hands down 5-star read. It is just insane what she was able to do in 31 pages. Hello, Fuzz. Like, I can't even comprehend how she was able to put in so much depth and plot and feeling into so little pages. Like, my mind was actually blown. So it's a fantasy short story about this like dying servant girl, and the Saint of War comes to her and basically says like, hey, you're not done yet, you have a purpose to fulfill. So the saint takes her and she becomes like the prince's right hand man almost. And I don't want to say what happens because I didn't know where it was going and like what the story was doing. So if I say that, I feel like it will take away from it. But it was just so well done. There were so many aspects to it, so many layers to it. Like, so the more you read, the more you understood, and as the story evolved, like, it was just so interesting. It was really, really, really good. Yeah. Makes you ask the question, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? A story about love as well, but not in the typical kind of way we see in stories. So yeah, like, go read it. It's on KU. I made my mom read it. She loved it. I made my boyfriend read it, and he doesn't read. He's not done it yet, but he is really enjoying it. So yeah. Okay, next. Funnily enough, these last 3 books were actually the first 3 that I read. And we know how well my brain retains information. Not well. So, let's see how this goes. I read, this was also on my March card prompt video. This is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. which I had never heard of, let alone read a book like that. But such a cool, fascinating concept. Basically, the main character, whose name is Carl. I literally had to look inside. Carl. And he is kind of recently broken up with, and his ex-girlfriend's cat, he lives in an apartment. The cat like runs outside, and he runs outside in his boxers and like bare feet to get the cat. And then all of a sudden, everything around him, every structure, building, just collapses, like is gone in a flash. And it turns out that every structure was turned into dungeons that these aliens created. So basically, at the end of the earth, and all remaining humans can choose, I think it's like either die or go into these dungeons and try to survive, get to a level, are there 18 levels, I think. And so it basically turns into like a video game. Once they enter the dungeons, and the cat goes with them, they enter the dungeons, and he gets like health bars, levels, he gets an inventory, he can like see stuff in his vision like you would in a video game, like a UI. So it was really, really cool. Super cool concept. I am intrigued enough to continue the series. I do want to continue it, but the pacing in it just felt a little like there wasn't like a normal structure. I found like it just kind of like ended. It was like almost like the same. I don't know how to describe it. Like a normal book, there's like intro, you know, like something happens, a lot of middle, and then climax, ending. This was very like this, not this, like this, but it was all way up here too. So much action, so many like boss fights, which was fun, but maybe too many fights going on. I realize I'm probably not the target audience for this book, but there was a lot of that going on. What else did I say? Oh yeah, I had no idea like where the story was going, what was going to happen, which was good. Yeah, I loved the characters. I definitely found myself laughing out loud. The cat is great. The audiobook is amazing. I don't know if it's the same, like if the narrator is the one doing all the voices and like the sound effects, because it's really good. All the voices are amazing. So yeah, if you think you'd be into that, I would totally recommend this. I'm definitely intrigued enough to continue, but I think I would rate this 3.75. There's just like a lot, and I found myself not paying attention sometimes, so I could even see myself rereading this again in the future. And now, next, this is the last book that I got to from my March TBR video. We have Bunny by Mona Awad, which is one that I have been wanting to get to again since like I joined the book community. This would be classified as like weird girl literature, literary fiction, and it definitely is that. I was really anticipating this, hoping it was gonna be like so weird and I was gonna be like super disturbed. I honestly wasn't like that disturbed by it. I don't know if that says something about me, but I was genuinely hoping for a little bit more out of it. It was certainly confusing. I think it was definitely meant to be confusing, but definitely left with many questions. It's about this main character. Her name is Samantha. She's a bit of an outsider. Doesn't really care too much like what she looks like. Only has one friend at this university. It's also dark academia. And there are these group of 4 girls that she goes to school with, and they're all in their 20s, so they're fully adults. But they are all like super girly. They're almost like this little tiny cult, and they call each other Bunny. They all huddle together. They're like, "Oh, Bunny, I love you. Oh, Bunny, I love you. Bunny, I missed you. Oh, Bunny." And it is weird. And they kind of take her in, and so I was really excited to see kind of how that went, her being a part of this group. But the main thing about this book, like my main criticism, is that I don't feel like that lasted long enough. Like her being a part of their group felt so quick. So then it made like the aftermath and everything that happened after that not feel as impactful. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. That's my main criticism. Like, it is quite short. So maybe it could have, that's a problem with short books. It maybe could have benefited being a little bit longer. It is also classified as a horror. I don't know if I would call it that. There was death and some disturbing things. But yeah, again, I don't know if it's just me. But, yeah. But I would really like to know why everything happened in this. Like, what the heck was going on and why? So many questions. But I did have fun with it, so. And last but not least, this was one that I had started last month, and finished at the start of March. This is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. If you saw my last wrap-up, you will know that I stopped the tandem read with Empire of Storms. So I finished this in March. Yeah, it's definitely the slowest pace of all of them, I would say. But the good thing about this one is, like, at this point, all of the other books in the series have kind of like melded together into one story. So I have trouble separating each book in my mind, except for this one, because it is in a completely different continent, different setting, new characters, mostly. So it is very different from the rest of the series. Yeah, slower pace. I won't say too much about, or really anything about the plot, because it is the second last book in the series. But might start this tonight, though, because I'm excited to get to that. And in case you were wondering, these are the 2 books that I didn't get to from my March TBR video. So pretty when Haru was here, and unfortunately, City of Bones, the first Immortal Instruments book, but I still will be reading them. These have been pushed to April. And I am also still reading Sapiens. I think I've been reading this since January, but I'm not mad about that. I am not rushing through it. This is a pretty dense nonfiction history book that quite literally covers all of history. I am up to the where am I? I'm up to the scientific revolution, so I've covered a lot of history. I'm close to 60% of the way. That's not exactly where I am. I read it mostly on my Kindle. But yeah, still getting through this. I'm just enjoying it, taking my time. Maybe April will be the month that I complete it. So yeah, don't forget to please and thank you check out my new BookTube channel. Like I said, it will be linked in the description from now on. But yeah, don't worry. This channel will not be lacking in book content either. And I'm going to go now and film this same video, but not ASMR. I hope I don't regret this decision. No, I'm sure it'll be fine. So thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you read in the month of March. Go take care of yourself, and I will see